Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me today. I am actually going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm doing this live broadcast since coming back from Mexico. As you guys, most of you know, we were there for 2 glorious weeks. Had a little bit of apprehension before going, but since coming back, I've had so many questions about what it was like, what the protocols were, what the COVID situation is down there. And I just thought it would be easier to do a live broadcast to answer all your questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to jot them down below, and I'm happy to answer them all. I'm doing something a little bit tricky today. We are broadcasting live on both Facebook and YouTube. I will see the questions and comments that come in from YouTube, and I'm just trying to hook up to see the questions that come in on Facebook as well. So there might be a little bit of delay, but thank you for joining, and we'll try to answer all your questions. So we're going to go through the whole thing. I will say, as an overview, I was a little bit, more than a little bit, apprehensive about going, because this is my first trip in 18 months. We've pretty much been grounded here in Canada. And so being able to travel was not even really possible for a long, long time. And I just wasn't sure what to expect. We had this trip booked to Cancun, heading out to Cabo next Saturday. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. And don't forget to give it a like if you are enjoying the content, because we're going to be doing lots more videos and talking about how it compares on the Cabo side, on the West Coast side of Mexico. But I knew that in advance of the trip, that I would cancel if I wasn't happy with how things were going down. Um, you know, Look, the trips that I've booked, they're all fully cancelable, no penalties. And I think that's really critical to travel in this date and time, because you just never know what's going to happen. But also, I just wasn't sure what to expect. Am I going to spend all this money? Am I going to travel all this way and then basically have the same rules and restrictions as what we have at home? And it's just not going to be fun. This is a possibility, right? And quite frankly, at my home, I can walk around without wearing a mask and I can pretty much do what I please. So why would I restrict myself if I was going to go away somewhere? But as it turned out, it was absolutely great. I was prepared to cancel the Cabo trip if everything didn't go smoothly in Cancun. But within a day, within hours of getting there, I knew that I was not canceling any future trips. I will tell you that now. Everybody's got their own comfort level for sure. So that's a factor. But for me personally, I thought it was great. I'm just trying to get my Facebook page up so that I can see if there are any questions. And of course, the internet is being ever so friendly to me. Not. So please, if you have questions, please feel free to jot them down below. I'm happy to answer them. And let's see here. Okay, well, this doesn't seem to be working, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about what it was like in the air. So obviously we were traveling from Canada. So if you're watching from the States, bear with us for this small part of the show. I wasn't sure what to expect. With Canadian Airlines, we were grounded from January of 2021 until July. So we just couldn't fly. We couldn't fly really anywhere. So that was a real problem, a real pain. Oh, we have some people. Hello. Hello, Teresa. Um, what what air? Oh, what airline? Gotcha. We flew on WestJet. We had to do a connecting flight. This is one of the first flights, not one of the first, but there haven't been many flights from Vancouver to Cancun. And I guess there wasn't enough demand for the direct nonstop flight to continue. So we we did book on WestJet. We had a couple of schedule changes. They ended up having to go via Toronto both ways, which is awful because you fly 4.5 hours to Toronto and then another 4 hours to get to Cancun. I mean, you could fly to London, England for that amount of time in the air. Plus, you get the time in between, and plus, you have to wear a mask the whole time. I was surprised, like my ears actually hurt from wearing the mask. Um, Mario, it was Mario there. Yeah. Hello, Mario. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Um, we flew, you don't have that many options. We flew WestJet, and actually the service was great. I know on good authority that Air Canada is also doing full service. So no matter which airline you're flying from Canada, I believe you are getting full service. At least you are with, excuse me, you are with Air Canada and with WestJet for sure. So that's really good. We were sitting in premium in WestJet, which was good because you have a little bit extra space, which I liked. But of course, with the HEPA filters that they have on board, the air is circulating fully in the plane through those filters every 2 or 3 minutes. So it's actually a very clean experience, very safe place to be. You were required to wear your mask at all times unless you were eating or drinking. Well, if you had a drink in front of you, you didn't necessarily, or you're eating your meal, you didn't necessarily have a spoonful of rice and then have to put your mask back on. You could sit there and eat like a normal human being. Um, but other than that, if you're just sitting there uh, slowly drinking your drink, then it was kind of expected that you would put your mask back on. I will say from Toronto to Cancun, there were people in front of us who were sitting there for he probably sat there for the better part of 2 hours without wearing a mask because he was drinking and chatting and stuff like that. I actually felt comfortable with it again because I know the air circulation and all that kind of stuff. So that was the flight. The flights were quite full. On the flight to Cancun, they were actually asking for people with carry-on luggage to check their carry-on. So that gives you an idea of how full the flight was. So that was really reassuring. And for the future flights that we have, they're both direct nonstop. WestJet has already announced their schedule changes through to mid-December. So if you do have a trip booked and you're flying on WestJet and you're flying before December 15th, if they haven't contacted you about a schedule change, about a direct flight becoming connecting, you're pretty much good to go. I mean, things could still change, but that is reassuring. So there you have it. So that was in the air. On the flight home, again, the flights were full, both from Cancun to Toronto and also Toronto to Vancouver. So again, really reassuring. And can I just say, the airports were fantastic. I mean, 3, 4 weeks ago, a month ago, Canada finally opened its borders to the rest of the world for fully vaccinated people to come into Canada. And we were hearing about massive delays at customs and stuff like that. Well, I'll tell you what, we were through lickety split. Even in Cancun, we've all been in that arrivals hall where there's just thousands of people and it takes you forever to get through. Well, we were through in no time at all. You do have to make sure you've got all your documentation, and that has changed a little bit. I'm going to talk about that at the end. But as long as you've got your documentation, everything was processed really quickly. We were through, we had our bags. We were from landing to getting our bags and being outside of the airport 40 minutes. I mean, that's insane. We did land at Terminal 4. That's where you land if you're coming in on WestJet. So there's some benefits there where, and if you're watching from America, whichever airline you're flying on, see which terminal it's going to go to. Because I will say that Terminal 4, it's the newer one. They've got all the latest protocols, all the latest gadgets and stuff like that. It is the fastest to get through. So there you go. So in the air on the way here, it was great. No issues whatsoever. We get to Cancun and we're like, okay, what's going on? We booked a shuttle. We had drinks that had been pre-ordered for the trip. I don't like, are you allowed to drink this stuff on the flight or not? I didn't really know. And just checking to see if I can update to see any questions on Facebook. There we go. Okay, rock and roll. So we'll see if we can get any questions on here. Okay. So if you have questions, please jot them down below. We'll try to answer them all. So Cancun, we got there and, we had the drinks arranged. We asked the driver, can we take our mask off and enjoy our beers? And he was like, yeah, no problem. He says, the first thing he says is, yeah, I'm fully vaccinated, so you don't need to worry. And of course, our response to that was, we are too, and that was kind of the common conversation piece throughout the trip, was that people were talking about which vaccine they had. And it wasn't so much like, where are you from? It was, which vaccine did you get? Because there was a surprising amount of people who were fully vaccinated. In fact, everybody that we spoke to was fully vaccinated. And fun fact, when we were driving to the resort, the shuttle driver was telling us that all the people who work at the resorts must be fully vaccinated. So again, another layer of protection, another sense of, that things are just a little bit safer. You're in a safe environment, along with all the protocols. So we did have our beers on the way to the resort, no problem at all. It is legal to consume alcohol in a vehicle in Mexico as long as you're not driving. So there you go. Didn't know that before. Well, kind of knew that, but it was recently confirmed to me. So there you go. However, public drunkenness is not allowed. So if you're going to drink, drink responsibly. There's your little TSA for the day. When we got to the resort, we really weren't sure, again, what to expect. But of course, we had our masks on. They do have that goofy tray of liquid that you're supposed to walk through. Nobody was really doing that. Not sure what the reasoning for that is, unless you're going to walk through it and then lick your shoes. I don't know. They did spray down our bags. Again, I suppose every little bit helps. Mario, staying at a hotel in Playa del Carmen, how easy is it to get a PCR test? You know what? If you're staying at a medium to large sized brand property, most of them are providing the PCR tests right on the property. So you don't have to go looking for a test. You don't have to go off site to get your testing done. They will come to you. If you're not staying at a resort where they're offering that, you can make arrangements, again, for them to come to you. So that part was really easy. You pay for the test, you get the results, usually about 18 hours later, 12 to 18 hours later. They send you an email and you're good to go. So that part, again, was really easy. At the hotel, we did ask what the rules were, because I didn't know if you had to wear a mask outside, down the sidewalk and stuff. The rules are that you must wear a mask when you're indoors, if you're in a taxi or a bus or an Uber, and you must, it's recommended to wear a mask when you're in crowded public places. So, if you're going to go to the market and there's lots of people around, probably you would want to put your mask on. It's not required, but it's probably a good idea. So there you have it. When you're in the hotel, if it's open air, in a lot of the lobbies where it's very open, you weren't required to wear a mask, but, again, it's personal choice. If you were in an enclosed area, like a lot of the lobbies have, they're fully air conditioned, they've got doors and stuff like that. It was expected that you would wear a mask. Not everybody did. And the one place that you did have to wear a mask is, I guess I should move on, is in the buffet for sure. So when you're going up and down the elevators, if you're a resort like that, obviously you would put your mask on. But again, I'll say most people did. 90% did. There's still a few holdouts. There's always going to be those people that don't. But you know what? Like I said, all the staff are fully vaccinated, and all the staff have to wear their mask all day long. And when we were there, it was so hot. In Celsius, it was, AccuWeather was saying it was 33, real feel 43. And then when you look at the humidity, it was like 94% one day. And the next day I woke up and it said 100%. Like, how is that even possible when you're above water? I don't know. But suffice to say, it was like walking into a hot, wet sauna every time you walked outdoors. It was smoking hot, and you could actually see that the masks were wet with sweat for the workers. So if they can wear a mask all day long, I can wear a mask for 5 minutes while I'm going in and out of somewhere, is kind of the way I look at it. Um, we did walk around, going back to Cancun, we did walk around a little bit. We went down to Plaza La Isla, which is the outdoor shopping mall, as well as to right downtown, where Coco Bongo is and all the other nightclubs. I don't remember the names. As well as the market and the grocery store we went to. Plaza La Isla, it's taken a hit economically. They still have Prada, Versace, Dolce Gabbana, with the guy with the machine gun standing outside for security. But those were open. They did have the Liverpool store, which is sort of like a Sears or the Bay, or well, an upscale Target, where it's a department store. That was open, as well as a lot of the little shops. But there were certain corridors in the Plaza La Isla where we would walk down, and the shops were all boarded up. There's nothing open. It's going to take a while to bounce back, but we're going into peak season for them. Certainly, as we get closer to Christmas and January, so we'll see more and more people joining in, and more and more businesses opening up as things come along. In the downtown area, the markets were as feisty as ever. The guy saying, "Oh, women, a couple, they got off the bus." And the guys are yelling across the street, "Oh, you have to cross here, you have to cross here," like directly across from where their shops were. Obviously, just a ploy to get them to cross the street and get closer. "Oh, come see my shop," whatever. Well, I mean, and they didn't fall for it, which is good. But the guys were laughing. They had a go. They tried. Um, but it wasn't as high pressure as I might have expected. I kind of thought, well, like, what's it going to be like? A lot of these people have been out of work for 6 to 9 months. So is it going to feel like desperate times, or is it going to feel safe? Is it going to be, like, economically devastated? I mean, it was a bit rough. There was a few things that weren't open that had been open in the past, but when you get to the downtown area, it was thriving. It was doing well. I mean, it wasn't packed with people, but at the peak of day, smart people were at home or were back at the hotel, either in the pool or in the air conditioning. So, but it's doing okay. Coco Bongo is open again. The discos are open. And then there's some rumor, or discussion about not serving alcohol after 11 p.m. Coco Bongo is not a place where people are going to go and drink water or tea. So they were serving alcohol, and there are permits that the resorts and discos and stuff like that can buy to have alcohol served until 3 a.m. So it just depends if they've paid that or not. So yeah, downtown was doing well, thriving, as I say. It did feel comfortable. I mean, certainly, walking around and looking at people's phones and stuff like that, people had new cell phones. It wasn't like after the recession when you sort of look around and what you see is people with cell phones that you don't even recognize the brand. Like, is this some cheap knockoff brand or what is it? This trip, it was iPhone 10, 11, 12. So people are doing okay, but they were very, very gracious, grateful that we were there. We heard so many times, "Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your business." So it was very comfortable. I will say that. Um, let's talk about the buffets. So this was a little bit different depending on which resort you went to, and this was kind of expected. For those who don't know, we were at 3 different properties for the 15 days that we were gone. We were at the Sandos Cancun, we were at Dreams Port Aventuras. Well, now it's called Dreams Aventuras Riviera Maya, and we were at Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun. And protocols varied a little bit between each one. I will say, we didn't speak to everybody at the resort, obviously, but I feel fairly comfortable that we were the only Canadians down there at those particular resorts at that time. Certainly, our plane was full, like I said, so there were other Canadians down there. Not sure where they were, but of the people that we spoke to, there were three other Canadians that I ran into. And I knew that because I heard them talking about Transat. And sure enough, they turned out to be travel agents. So there you go. What was interesting is speaking to them, they are booking like crazy. And this was like their fourth or fifth trip to Mexico since COVID had started. So they were traveling a lot so that they would understand what it was like for their clients and be able to say, when somebody asks you, okay, what was it like? Was it rubbish or was it a good trip? And that at least they could honestly say, well, it was, like I would say it was extremely hot. September is probably not the best time to go. um, but it was comfortable. It was great to be away. It was relaxing. I was reassured by the protocols, and it was just a great time. And, it was kind of nice being down there when the hotels are not allowed to be full. When we were there, Cancun and the Mayan Riviera was at level yellow. In Mexico, they have four levels. They have red, which basically means full restrictions, lockdown kind of situation. And they have orange, which means we still have a lot of cases and there's a lot of restrictions and protocols in place. Yellow means to say that you can operate up to 65% of hotel occupancy. And then green actually has two stages. Green stage 1 means you can go to 80% occupancy at the hotels. Stage 2 means that the numbers have dropped so much that they're back to 100% occupancy. So what was interesting is, like I say, while we were there, they were stage 2 or yellow level. The hotels were pretty low occupancy. Midweek was a dream because you had the place pretty much to yourself. You never had to fight to get a lounger. People weren't getting up at 6 in the morning to put a book and a towel on a lounger and save it. But it was, is enough people that, with pool volleyball was going on every day, and there's activities and stuff like that. You didn't feel like you're the only one there, but you did feel like you didn't have to fight for things, which was quite nice. As of 2 days ago, it was announced that Cancun Mayan Riviera is moving to green, stage 1, and that goes into effect tomorrow, October 11th. And that is also the case for Cabo San Lucas, as well as the whole Los Cabos area. In fact, most areas of Mexico have moved to green because their cases have dropped so much. I think I read somewhere last week that in Los Cabos, the towns of Los Cabos, I think there was like 43 active cases. And when you compare that to some of the Canadian cities or even in the States, 43 active cases, I mean, that's like nothing. So it's a really good sign that things are on the turn, on the mend. But having said that, like I say, the Americans have been traveling this whole time. They've been able to, and they're comfortable with traveling now. So as Canadians, we're, again, a little bit behind in terms of we're playing catch up. So if you're thinking of booking a trip and you're not sure, ask me questions. If you're a travel agent and you have clients who aren't sure and you haven't been able to go for whatever reason, ask me questions. Let's get this going again. Let's get travel started. Things are it was a great trip. It really, really was. And like I say, I've got 2 more trips coming up and I'm not canceling those. Really looking forward to them. Okay, got off topic. Buffets. So at the Sandos and at Dreams, it was kind of like before COVID. You had some stations where they were doing made to order, as they always do, omelet stations, that kind of thing, carvery stations. But if you want salad, you go get your own salad. If you want anything, really, the tongs are there. You go and you help yourself. So it made things really easy. But you had to wear sanitizer and you did have to wear a mask. That was non-negotiable. Um, At the Hyatt, however, it was a little bit different where they had quite a few no touch stations, and they actually had signs out that very clearly stated this, that you couldn't handle the serving utensils or the touch the lids and stuff. They didn't want you to. So they had a person stationed there. So you just walk up with your plate and say, like they had meatballs the one morning at the buffet. I don't know. uh, One would say, "Why would you have a meatball at breakfast buffet?" But I had one, so I guess it was a smart move, you know. But you just say, "Would you like one? Yes. How many would you like? Would you like extra sauce? Yes, no, whatever." So that was great. But they did ultimately have some areas of the buffet where you could get your own stuff, the tongs to get a slice of bread, that kind of thing. So it just varied by resort. I will say the Hyatt was probably the most restrictive in terms of protocols, but not in a confining sense. Just, I guess, felt reassuring that they were looking out for you and going to be doing extra cleaning and all that good stuff. So yeah, that was the buffets. Uh, a little bit less items than what I recall in the past for the Sandos Cancun. But then I'm comparing that to what I remember of the lunch buffet. And I think we only walked through the lunch buffet once. So it's not bad options, really. And at the Hyatt, they had certainly a lot of different things. Dreams didn't have a lot of options, but their flavors are really good. If you ever see the wedge potatoes, get some because they are full of flavor. They use just a lot of really nice spices, not spice like hot, but spice like flavor. Here's a question that comes up a lot: Mexico versus Hawaii. I know a lot of you are very comfortable going to Mexico. I've going to Hawaii, I should say. Everybody speaks English. It's kind of similar to like being here. But it's tricky to get there right now because you have to do a test before you get there, whether you're American and you have to do an antigen test, or you're Canadian, you have to do a PCR test, and those are expensive. BC, British Columbia, is literally the most expensive province in the country to do PCR testing. It's over $200. And there's other places, other provinces you can fly from, so a little bit less expensive. But that is something that you're going to have to do, is you have to get tested before you go to Hawaii. And right now their cases are on the high side, so they've implemented a lot of restrictions. Certainly in Oahu or Honolulu, Waikiki area, they have vaccine passports that you have to show in order to go to restaurants, bars, beaches, public parks. So, and because the US have only just announced that they're going to be recognizing AstraZeneca, if that was one of the vaccines that you got as a Canadian, for the short term, it means that you're not going to be able to do anything. You can get tested, get the negative PCR test to go there, but what you can do when you get there is going to be really restricted. Maui is a little bit less so. They're a little bit more open for tourism and stuff like that. Um, but who's to say what is going to happen in the next month or two? So if you're planning on a trip to Hawaii, just know it's a little bit more restrictions than if you were going to go to Mexico. Whereas Mexico, you don't need any documents, or sorry, you don't need any testing or proof of vaccination to go to Mexico, whether you're Canadian or American or wherever you're watching from. Now, if you're watching from another country, people from other places may have other restrictions for entry. But certainly if you're Canadian or American, you can go to Mexico, no problem. You do not need to test before you go. It's probably not a bad idea though, because if you are somebody who happens to be sick, you're asymptomatic, you're going to have those antibodies. And then when you test to come home, especially with the PCR test, because it is such a highly accurate test, it's going to pick up those antibodies and it's going to show you as being positive. So if you have proof that you were positive for so many days before you are going home, it will allow you to get on the plane and come home, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. But basically, what you have to do is you have to show that you were previously sick, you're past the day of the amount of time that you're not spreading it anymore, and therefore you can go home. Because in order to get on a plane to come back to Canada, you need a negative PCR test. And if you're going to the US, you need proof of a negative antigen test. So they're slightly different. Let's talk about documents and testing. For Mexico, there are two things that are required to go there. You still have to do the Mexican tourist visa, which, you fill out the top and the bottom, and you show that once you get there. You also have to do a health affidavit, and that has to be completed within 12 hours of arriving to Mexico. Nobody asked for it. I don't know if that's going to change or not, but for the moment, like I say, there's nobody asking for the documents or anything like that. They were asking definitely for the tourist visa, and that is something that they've always asked. So basically, you get off the plane, you go down the hallway towards security, towards customs and immigration, and they're asking to see that form. Now, there's always the people who didn't fill it out ahead of time. You can go online, you can fill it out, you can print it, and you can take it with you, and then it's done. Plus, you get an email of it, which means to say if you lose that piece of paper, you can print it out and you've at least got a copy of it. So that's a really smart idea. If you go with the paper form, when you get there, you can fill it out. But honestly, there's always a person waiting in the hallway going, show me your forms, wave them in the air, off you go through into customs. And there was no line up there at all, which was great. If you haven't filled it out, then you're sitting there and you're like trying to fill out this piece of paper, where's my passport number? Oh yeah, what's to add to hotel, it's a pain in the butt. And really, this is the way you want to start your vacation? I don't think so. So print it, get it all done, take it with you. That is all you need. Okay. Pre-book your shuttle because, of course, there are no taxis at the airport in Cancun. There are private taxis and they're expensive. Pre-book your shuttle if you want snacks or drinks for the shuttle ride. If you're heading into the Mayan Riviera, Dreams Aventuras is a good hour south of the airport. So you might want to book a couple of drinks or some waters for the ride and, get there and enjoy it. When you're coming home, it's a little bit more stuff to do. And, it sounds complicated. Initially, I was a little bit, like I said, a bit anxious about having to fill all this stuff out because, you think, oh my God, I don't want to make a mistake and get denied or whatever. So here's the thing. When you're at the hotel, when you're at your final hotel, the last place you're going to be before you come home, book your appointment for your COVID test. Book it as soon as you get there, because if you're coming home on a weekend, that's when a lot of people travel. So Saturday or Sunday, there's going to be a lot of people trying to make appointments so that they can get their test done, that kind of thing. So book your appointment ahead of time. Then you've got your slot, when you're going, it's all good. Take your passport with you when you make the appointment. This is also when you'll pay for your test. So, and you pay for the test no matter what happens, if you're negative or positive. If you, when you make the appointment, they'll give you the appointment time and everything. When you go to the appointment, you don't need to bring your passport again. Bring your receipt that you've already paid, just in case. And the test, we had the PCR test. It was actually really easy. Swab in your mouth, and that was it. One thing I will learn, thank you, Global Explorer, for sharing this tip with me, is tilt your head all the way back, and so that your airways are as open as they can be, so that when they do the test, it's easy for them to get in there. It didn't hurt at all. It felt like I was going to sneeze is all I would say, but otherwise it was absolutely fine. Quick and easy, done in like 5 minutes. And then that was at 9:30 in the morning on the Saturday. We got our test done at 2:30 in the morning is when the emails came in, negative, all good. Proof of that with a QR code as well. And then our flight was on Monday. So we tested on Saturday, flight was on Monday. For the antigen tests, I think they take like half an hour or something to get the results. So you may not have to go as early, as far ahead of time to get your test done. But I haven't inquired about the antigen tests, so certainly ask when you get there. But they've got that process rolled out, no problem. At every hotel that we went to, I inquired about the testing. For the PCR test, it varied from $125 American to $140. At each of the properties, at the Sandos, at Dreams, and at the Hyatt, they did it right on site. They used one of the hotel rooms. You go in one at a time, get your test done, and leave, and then that's it, finished. At Sandos resorts, if you are staying there for 7 days or longer, the PCR test is free. And I'm seeing more and more resorts do this as they try to woo Canadians to visit. So definitely, bear that in mind if you're looking at different properties. If that this is another thing to consider. It's not just how's the beach, how's the service, how's the food, how's the drinks. It's also what are they going to do for testing? Is it on the property? Well, most of them, I think it's safe to say that they will be. What's the cost? And is there any testing that's complimentary? Because if you can save another $100, well, when you convert that, it goes a long way. And maybe that means it's another trip that you can take later down the road. In addition to the proof of the negative PCR test, when you're coming home to Canada, of course, you need to fill out the ArriveCan app, and I'll talk about that more in a second. Also, you need to do the health questionnaire, that health form that I told you about at the beginning. This is something that they are asking for. So when you go to the airport and do your check-in, they're going to ask to see proof of your negative COVID test. They're going to ask to see your ArriveCan app if you're coming to Canada, which is going to prove that you're fully vaccinated and all that kind of good stuff, as well as your Mexican tourist card. Then before you get to security, there's two things. If you're in Cancun, Mayan Riviera, they are going to ask if you've done the new tourist tax. It's about $38 US per person. It's not something that they're stopping everybody and asking, but like an idiot, I'm walking along and I see her holding this sign and I'm like, oh yeah, I paid that. So of course she flags me to come over and show that I've paid it. So, what can I say? Kevin, did you need a QR code when you flew into Mexico? Nope. Nope. Fill out your the FMM, the Mexican tourist visa. Go online and fill that out. I will put the links to this stuff in the description of the video on YouTube below. So just click on if you're on anything other than a TV, you can see the description of the video. I'll put the links to that card down below. You must fill that out. You must fill out the health affidavit. Again, I'll put a link to that. That's all that's required. You don't have to prove that you are fully vaccinated or that you had any vaccinations. Nothing else is required to enter Mexico for Canadians or Americans. Okay. So like I said, like an idiot, asked to show that I've paid this tourist tax thing. And you know what? It was fine, except I had done that before we left. So I will say, keep everything really well organized on your phone. Put make the emails, make them priority or whatever so that they stay highlighted so you can keep them in your inbox or put them in a separate folder. Make it so that everything is easy to find. Because I had done the Visitex thing before we left, I could not remember where I had proof of it. So I'm sitting there struggling. I'm on the stupid airport Wi-Fi and whatever. Anyways, it was awesome because all the woman said is, oh, scan this QR code. So you get your camera out and you take a picture of it. And this opens up the document checker. So you go to the camera, scan the QR code, boom, it comes up and it says, what's your passport number? Because this is all the information that you put ahead of time. So you put the passport number in and it comes up and it validates in the system and it says, oh yeah, we recognize you've already paid this. Perfect. Then you do the next person, scan it again, put your traveling companion's passport number in, boom, away you go. So that it was a bit of a pain. It was just frustrating for me because stupidly I didn't keep that part organized. But imagine if I thought, well, nobody's getting asked for this, so I'm not going to pay it. And then I don't even know. I didn't even ask what would happen if you, I suppose you have to pay it then and there. I don't know if there's a penalty because you haven't prepaid it or what. That wasn't a major hurdle. The major hurdle was when we got to the top of the escalator just before security, they were asking, same thing as the tourist card when you enter, you are not moving forward, you are not passing go until you have shown that you filled out that health form. Yeah, you bet, Christy. I'll definitely post that below. So the health form, you have to fill it out. It has to be done online. If you bring a laptop with you, if you're not sure about doing stuff on your phone, trying to key stuff in like this is not the easiest. And here's the drill. Here's the thing. So all the people at the airport who hadn't filled out this health form ahead of time, oh, nobody's asking for it, I'm not going to bother. You were not moving forward unless you had this filled out. So you get detoured to the side and you have to sit there and you're connecting to the airport Wi-Fi. And you're like, oh, I got to get through security. I got to get to my gate. And you got to fill out this stupid form. It didn't take long. It wasn't difficult to fill out. But when you're in a rush and all that stuff with being at the airport, it's an added stress that you just don't need. Because yes, Kevin, they do not give you a piece of paper. There's no paper to fill out. It has to be done online. So like I said, if you're, reading glasses, if you need those, if you're trying to do it on your phone, that can be difficult. So fill it out ahead of time. Like I said, within 12 hours of your departure from Mexico is when you fill this out. So just do it at the hotel, do it online. If they've got a business center workstation, make it easy on yourself, and then keep your documents all together on your phone. You're welcome. And if you are enjoying this content, please, again, please give us a thumbs up for the video. Really helps me out. And don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, I'm heading to Cancun, heading to Cabo next weekend. So I'm going to be doing more videos talking about what it's like there. Is it dramatically different from Cancun? Is it more comfortable, less comfortable? What are the shops like? I've heard it's a little bit quiet around the marina, but we're actually, again, staying at two different areas. Going to be staying in San Jose del Cabo and also in Cabo San Lucas. So we'll get a really good sense of what both areas are like. So I'm really looking forward to that. No, Kevin, you when you fill it out, you get a confirmation QR code, and that is what you show. So again, it's just like with these vaccine passports that they have here in Vancouver, where you have to show proof of vaccination. You show, I'm not going to show you mine because obviously, but you show the QR code on your phone and they scan it and it basically says yes or no. Like they're not getting your life history here. They're not getting your health information. They're getting very basic information, and it's either you're moving forward or you got to sit there and fill it out and do it again. Basically, all they're asking is if you're healthy before you leave, or do they need to be concerned that you've been in contact with people who are sick, that kind of thing. Kind of standard stuff. I mean, it is what it is. But so that's basically the documentation that you need to leave Mexico. And then just again, on the flight, our flight was full on the way back, and service was like normal. Had a few cocktails on the flight, and just had a really enjoyable, relaxing trip. But like I said, gonna head to Cabo next week and talk about what that's like and how that compares. It's October, so I'm hopeful that we'll see some whales, maybe, because we're starting to get into whale season, and also maybe some dolphins and rays. You always see rays jumping, like the little triangle fish things, and they jump in the air and they try to, it's like they think they can fly. I don't know what they're doing, but it's fun to watch. Hey, yeah. We are staying at the Hyatt Ziva Los Cabos. We're staying there, and then we're going to be staying at the Sandos Finisterre. So really looking forward to that. Yeah, I've stayed at the Hyatt a few times. I love the food, all that good stuff, which reminds me, I must pre-book a cabana. And here's another couple of tips for you. Um, oh, will a screenshot of the QR code work? Absolutely. As long as it's a clear screenshot. If you are taking a photo from one camera to the next, uh, just be careful, because if it's blurry, if your hands are shaking, alcohol, heat, um, it could be blurry. But if you're just doing a screenshot, which of course depends on your phone, but with the iPhone, it's the on off button and the volume down button. Press them both, screenshot, away you go. So yeah, that's really easy to use. Thank you, Katie. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait to hear about the Sandos. Yeah, you know what? We've stayed at both of these properties before, the Hyatt Ziva Los Cabos and the Sandos Finisterra. Hyatt Ziva Los Cabos obviously is in San Jose del Cabo. It's really easy walking distance to a couple of the grocery stores. And I'll tell you what, if you have not tried Mexican peanuts with lime, you are missing out. You can buy these at the grocery stores. After 18 months, we'd rationed our supply of this. So when we went to Cancun, we bought like 6 bags because we weren't sure if we'd be able to get them in Cabo. I'm pretty sure we will be able to. There's a 𝘬𝘬𝘧𝘬𝘬 and a supermercado. And you can buy these lime peanuts. They are to die for. They're absolutely delicious. And they've tried to make similar stuff here in Canada, but it's just not the same. They're just nice and bright flavored. So definitely check those out. San Jose del Cabo, if you're there on a Thursday, they do the art walk. There's some neat restaurants and stuff like that downtown. And it's a little bit more quiet, less touristy feeling, less commercialized than Cabo San Lucas. Cabo San Lucas, of course, you've got, Cabo Wabo and Squid Row. The names escape me. All the famous places, Carlos and Charlie's, and help me out, folks. What are the common bars that you go to? Anyways, and of course there's other fun places like the Office and some of the other ones that are right on Medano Beach where you can swim. Of course, you can't swim at most of the beaches in Los Cabos because they have basically a perpetual riptide. So, there's always people that try, and there's always people that don't try successfully. So yeah, The Office. Yeah, I like that place. And there's the other one. I can't think of the name. I wasn't expecting to talk about Cabo today. I can't think of the name of that one, but lots of great places to go for drinks. Personally, I love Slim's. That is the smallest bar in the world, and that's sort of in the downtown Cabo San Lucas area. So that's always a fun place to go and have beers, as well as any of the places that are around the marina. So really good for getting your steps in because you can do lots of walking. And that's the great thing about Santos Finisterra. Basically, it's built into the hillside. So architecturally, it's stunning. If you have a basic room, you have a gorgeous view of the pool area and the ocean in the back. And that's where you're going to see dolphins and whales and the manta rays jumping, all that good stuff. And you walk down the driveway. It's a pretty steep driveway, so if you are needing assistance with mobility issues, this may or may not be the resort for you. I will say that. But if you're able to go up and down hills, walk down the driveway, and you are right at the marina. You're so close to all the shops and the bars and restaurants and stuff like that. So it's a really good opportunity to go and see the area and walk around. So yeah, that's Cabo. But I'm reassured, having taken the trip to Cancun, that I know we're heading back to the Mayan Riviera in December. Really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to Cabo. It might be a little bit less busy than in the past, but it's going to be, everything's easy to walk around. You can see everything. You can go for a beer. It's just easy. You're on vacation, sun shining. If you have the opportunity to take a trip, I would recommend it. I will say, especially for Canadians, like I said earlier, we're behind the 8 ball here. Um, Americans are booking things up. If you want to go somewhere for spring break, you think, yeah, maybe 2022 is looking a little bit more comfortable for you. That's where you feel that's your comfort zone. Book it now. Please book it now, because honestly, the prices are going to go up and up and up. And you are going to see prices like you've not seen before. But right now, they're not bad. They're not bad. So book now if you're Canadian or American. If you want to go during any peak time next year, next Christmas, book it now, because the prices, as demand increases, the prices are just going to continue to go up. So book it now while Canadians are still somewhat reluctant to travel. But like I said, even yesterday we were out, and 2 random other tables that were sitting near us at the restaurant were talking about trips that they've got coming up. So this isn't the time when people aren't traveling. They are traveling. Flights are going ahead. Hotels are booking up. Stuff is getting sold out. So if I can say anything to you, book now. Book something that you can cancel if you need to. Book something that you can cancel if you're not comfortable going, if something goes sideways, if the whole COVID situation goes bad again. I think we're through. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, everybody, fingers crossed. But yeah, book it now. Question from Jacques. Do the people follow the rules? Yeah, for the most part. The sanitary rules, yeah, for sure. They hand you a towel to clean off your seat area. I mean, they walk through and they sanitize the plane before you get on. But they also hand you a sanitary wipe so that you can really do, like, you want to wipe your tray. That's the main thing, right? And then the armrest kind of thing, maybe the back headrest. I don't know. I mean, whatever you're comfortable with. It's available to you if you want it. And the other main tip that I have for you folks is take lots and lots of masks with you, because if you're traveling in the hot months, they are hot, they're sweaty, they're disgusting once you've worn them a couple of times. Take I mean, you don't have to take like a brand new mask for every day, but pack like half a dozen extras, because you don't want to, it's like putting a dirty shirt back on, except you're putting it on your face. You're putting it in front of your nose and your mouth. Pack extra masks for sure. So hope you guys found this useful. If you have any other questions that I haven't been able to answer, or if I've missed anything, please jot it down below and I will try to answer your questions. Got a few more videos coming up this week of, again, just talking about the past experience of, I think I've got a couple of buffet videos from the Sandos, as well as a wrap-up review of the Dreams Aventuras. Sparkly clean, fully renovated, looks great. So more stuff coming up, as well as another packing video on travel gadgets and stuff like that. It's just going to make life easier when you're traveling. Most of it's like Amazon stuff, but I mean, it's just easy, right? I can browse for hours on Amazon. I don't have to wear a mask. It's comfortable. I'm distancing from everyone. I love it. But where possible, obviously also shop local so that you can support your local businesses. So yeah, hope you found that helpful. And if you have any other questions, jot them down below, and we will see you on the next one. So thanks for tuning in. And again, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks. Bye for now, guys.